Okay.
That's what it was.
I know, I'm like, holding my finger.
Everybody, it is now 10 a.m. We will call to order our Tuesday, January 3rd, 2023 Board of Commissioners meeting. Happy New Year to everybody. We hope that you've had a fun and wonderful New Year. If you would please, actually, we're just going to do the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we'll do
All right.
board reorganization, if that's
One
okay.
last time,
Okay,
sure.
thank you. If you would please rise to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, good morning, everybody. I'm going to offer a few comments before we turn things over to incoming Chairman Commissioner Higgins. But with last week's announcement of my appointment as Deputy Chief of Staff for the incoming Shapiro administration, I think it'd be prudent for me to today step down as chair. I want to give as much runway and success for the incoming chair and our commissioner who is joining us as well, Amber Concepcion. But just as a reflection, a reminder, my resignation as commissioner is effective as of Saturday, January 14th. And I really want to say we all appreciate the efficiency and due diligence of President Judge Ruest with her appointment, again, of Commissioner Concepcion. Between then and now, I'm going to continue to work tirelessly for the people of Center County, and especially with particular focus on ensuring a smooth transition for our next Board of Commissioners. I thoroughly enjoyed the role of chair. I've tried to appreciate different perspectives, bring people together, strive for consensus, and above all, work together as a team to do good things for Center County. And at next week's Tuesday's Commissioners meeting, I'll have additional reflections to offer on 11 years of service to this county. But again, I want to provide as much opportunity for a smooth transition and handoff. So effective immediately, I will resign as chair of the Board of Commissioners, and I'll also make a motion to appoint Mark Higgins, my good friend, as chair of the Center County Board of Commissioners. Is there a second?
There is a second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Questions?
I do vote for myself?
Oh, absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely,
Just
absolutely,
checking.
absolutely. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Congratulations, Commissioner.
Thank you. Thanks.
The chair is yours.
Or swap your name tags around.
No, I think,
Oh, yeah.
and Aaron is, yep, Aaron's got a, yep. Absolutely. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you.
Looks good.
Please, absolutely, yeah.
Ready, Steve?
I am.
Ready in the back, Gary. All right. Announcing Mike's departure has been bittersweet. We wish Mike well in his new opportunity, and we will miss him. I'll miss working with a good friend who helped make me a better person. Mike had a strong passion for the role of Center County Commissioner. He's definitely leaving the county in better shape than he found it, and there are so many accomplishments. The most notable was the re-election of the entire Board of Commissioners in 2019, which is the first time that's happened in modern Center County history. Second was no Center County government property tax increases during his entire 12-year budget cycle oversight of county government. We're actually in our 13th year, but it's all good. Third, partially as a result of his recidivism initiative that was begun in 2013, was a 50% reduction in Center County citizens incarcerated in the Center County Correctional Facility. An average of 125 more citizens are contributing to our community every day without an increase in crime. Additional criminal justice accomplishments included funding the drug treatment court mentioned during Judge Ruest's retirement event, and funding for a behavioral health treatment court, which is on the way. Of course, there was even more, but we do have time limits. As is commonly the case when a county commissioner resigns, we humbly recommended a qualified individual to fill the balance of Commissioner Pipe's term to the Center County Democratic Party leadership, and requested that they forward our recommendation to the Center County Court of Common Pleas judges. My three criteria in choosing the recommendation were: one, I wanted someone who was prepared to govern today. 2, I wanted someone who had the political skills to keep the job tomorrow. And 3, someone who had the vision and leadership to assist Center County government and the Democratic Party well into the future. That person is clearly Amber Concepcion, the current board president for the State College Area School District. Amber's going to be an excellent commissioner. She's already in training right now, and she's here in the room watching us. Thank you, Amber, for agreeing to serve in a new capacity. I look forward to partnering with Amber, both governmentally and politically. I have been vice chair of the Center County Commissioners for 7 full years and have been chair during several commissioner meetings. I will continue our successful partnership with Commissioner Dersham, the other elected county officials, a couple of whom are in the room, the 570 county employees, there's a few more of them in the room, the over 100 human services partner agencies, and the more than 160,000 Center County residents. We have a great team that will continue to provide great services to Center County citizens. Thank you. Now I'd like to make a motion to nominate Commissioner Mike Pipe as Vice Chair of the Center County Board of Commissioners.
I will second that.
All right, all those in favor of Commissioner Pipe moving to the Vice Chair position, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right.
Well, congratulations, Mark.
Oh,
Mike,
I
I
was gonna congratulate Mike,
really
too.
want to say publicly that it's been a pleasure serving with you for 11 years, and I wish you only the best as you move on to new adventures. And Amber, in the audience today, I do appreciate you stepping up, and I look forward to working with you in the very near future. So, thank you all.
Excellent. Thanks, Steve. Any more comments? This was very good.
We have plenty of time to gush over that.
Okay. All right. Is there any public comment for items not appearing on the agenda? Don't see any. All right. We will move on additions to the agenda. Any additions? No? All right. So can we have a motion to approve the minutes from the Board of Commissioners meeting held on December 27th?
I'll be happy to make a motion to approve the minutes from the meeting held December 27th.
I will second.
All right. Well, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the meeting minutes from December 27th, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right. Now we move on to resolution number 1 of 2023, which authorizes John Fronick Jr., our administrator and chief clerk, to execute financial documents not to exceed $15,000, as well as in the event of an emergency to authorize expenditures up to and including $50,000 on behalf of the county effective January 1st. So John, I'll hand that over to you.
Well, you've summarized it quite well. Basically, traditionally, the commissioners pass a resolution at the beginning of each year which authorizes the administrator to authorize such expenditures, obviously all within compliance with county code.
Great, great. Yeah, there's just so many contracts, and sometimes the contracts don't even have a dollar value attached to them. Now, I know, especially sometimes Natalie or Julia will come to us and say, it's a small contract, but could you put it on the agenda because we'd like to highlight that particular agreement or say that particular nonprofit that we're starting to work with. So, all right, well, thank you very much, John, for agreeing to do that. Can we have a motion to adopt resolution number 1?
I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution 1 of 2023.
I will second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of adopting resolution number 1 of 2023, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right, now resolution number 2. A resolution that's updating the Center County fee schedules for various plans. I'll bring up both, well, I have Ray and Chris here. Is it just Chris or? All right. I know Chris is going to do most of the talking because he's the expert.
Thank you and good morning. Our office was asked to look at the fee schedules that relate to subdivision and land development reviews as well as the reviews of DEP planning modules, and brought before the board today is a resolution amending the 2 fee schedules that relate to those type of reviews. And there's a short presentation, just a little bit of historical context is there are 2 fee schedules that relate to subdivision land development as well as the DEP planning modules. And as you can see from the first slide, the first bullet is the one that was adopted in 1992, and that was a fee schedule for municipalities having their own And as I talk through this presentation, I'm going to use an acronym called SALDO, and what that stands for is Subdivision and Land Development Ordinance, just to shorten it up a little bit. And the other fee schedule is one that was adopted in the year 2000, and those are for the reviews that fall under the county's SALDO. And as you can see, it's been quite a few years since the fee schedules have been looked at, and it's probably a little bit past due. Hence the resolution on today's agenda. The proposed fee schedule, just some highlights. There's a couple additions to the fee schedule. One is a cost per square foot parameter for non-residential subdivisions and land developments, and I'll explain that here in a minute. And the second addition is a fee for grid-scale solar energy facilities of $400 per megawatt of proposed solar capacity. And it's very likely that we're going to be seeing these type of developments, if not this year, very shortly in the near distant future of those type of developments. And the previous schedules for the fees did not address those, and now that's being addressed. The middle one is the proposed fee schedules are in line with costs that are adjusted for inflation since the last time those schedules were amended, and that'll come into even clearer in the next slide or two. And then by comparison of the other counties that surround Centre County, the proposed fee schedules fall right in the middle. So basically, we just try to bring everything up to present day dollars, reflective of 1992 and 2000. This is maybe a little bit hard to read, but I'll explain it. This is under the county's ordinance, and the base fee was $100 plus $10 per lot for residential, and what we're proposing is $175 plus $15 per lot. Now, when you look at the $100 in 2000, adjusted for inflation, that's $173, so we're right in line with inflation in the same dollar power as it was in 2000. Similarly, the local saldo was $25 and $250 per lot. What we're proposing is $50 and $5 per lot. Again, adjusting for inflation, we're talking $53, and so we're right there, right around the cost of inflation.
Could you just explain that you're pretty much doing a quick overview with this option? Just for the difference in fees?
You mean between the county saldo or the residential?
Yes.
Oh, the county saldo applies in 25 to 35 municipalities, and the local saldo, which is on this slide, there's 10 municipalities in Centre County, basically all the Center region, plus Spring Township, Rush Township, Bellefonte Borough, and Liberty Township. All those municipalities have their own saldo and supersede that of the counties, but the municipality's planning code still requires that the county planning office be provided an opportunity to review that, and that's where this very nominal fee comes into play, is we really provide assistance to the local municipalities using their ordinances, not the county's ordinances. And then the additional fees, just to really highlight it, is under the existing county saldo, the minor subdivisions was again 110. It's going to go to 175 and 15. Minor land developments is 100. It's going to 175. Lot additions and survey corrections was 100. Now this is getting broken up just a little bit. Lot additions are going to go to 175, but tract surveys and corrections are going to 150, and that's because tract surveys and corrections don't take up as much staff time as lot additions do. So that's why it's not quite as much. And planning modules for DEP, the county is responsible really for 2 reviews of planning modules. There's what's called a request for planning waiver and non-building declaration, and that's a relatively easy form to fill out, and that's $25. The one that's $75 is the county is responsible for completing what's called component 4B. That is part of only a few planning modules from DEP, like component 2s, 3s, and 3S's, and that's a lot more involved and it takes a lot more staff time. Just real quick to give an example of like a 6-lot residential subdivision with public sewer, the existing fee schedule would have charged the applicant $160. Now it's going to be $265, and as you can see, it really just falls right in the middle of the surrounding municipalities and a few townships. And similarly, a 10,000 square foot, basically commercial building would have been 120. Now it's being proposed at 225, again, right in the middle. And what we'd like to have is and that's the proposed resolution that's being brought before the commission. And what we're proposing is an effective date of February 1st to give staff time and the ability to reach out to the surveyors and engineers to let them know what is happening. And that's the presentation for today and the proposed resolution as well.
One question before, you had mentioned the solar arrays. Like wind farms, how are they assessed by your office? How are they evaluated? I'm just curious.
When it comes to, well, we haven't had any solar, but we have had some wind farms, and we consider each of those wind turbines a unit. And so that would simply be one. We didn't do any megawatts for the wind turbines. We simply did units because there's still going to be units that would apply.
Question?
I just wanted to offer, the reason why these increases are really coming through is not only the passage of time, but also the level of expertise that our planning office offers comprehensively with all the staff that review these plans is tremendous. We know Mr. Schnur, Mr. Stolinas, they know their stuff, so to say. And this is just a reflection of really the amount of money you save developers. It certainly outweighs the fee that they're being charged. And so one of the things I did encourage when we were talking informationally was to look at, for future potential revisions to this, other fourth-class counties. Because I think a lot of those counties are regional, but in terms of a development standpoint, they may not see it as much. But again, a future discussion, but I think this brings it up to in enough time that's elapsed where we're in a good place. So just wanted, absolutely.
And I forgot to mention that, but you jogged my memory, is we will be looking at these fee schedules on an annual basis as opposed to every couple decades. It may not reflect, it may not need to be adjusted, but we're going to do it more regularly as opposed to every couple decades.
Steve?
I'm good. No, I understand. It's covering, it's literally the rate of inflation.
Yeah, thanks. Well, Mike covered it well. It's we offer a lot of expertise here in Center County Planning. We haven't raised the costs in 22 years, which is a long time. And to Steve's point, it's basically just raised at the cost of inflation. So the local developers will continue to receive a very good value, especially in comparison to some of the other counties that surround us. So we have a motion to adopt resolution number 2.
I'll make that motion.
I will second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second to adopt resolution number 2 of 2023. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right, now we'll, thanks again.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, absolutely, appreciate it.
Chris and Ray, thanks for coming up and explaining everything for us. Now we'll move on to our contracts and authorizations. We have a grant application, a pretty big one, from Criminal Justice Planning. So good. Carrie's up there, and I don't know if there's Glenn. Oh, I see Kathy too. Okay. You guys can sit down too if you want.
We'll just be quick
All
here
right.
this morning. So, good morning. Just looking for the board's approval to submit a grant application to the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency for federal state opioid response, which is acronym SOAR funds, to support improving justice system responses to opioid, stimulant, and related substance use disorders initiative. So funds would be utilized to support medicated assisted treatment at the Center County Correction Facility. The grant cycle would run April 1st of 2023 through September 29th of 2024. And maximum awarded amount is $500,000. So I brought Kathy and Glenn here today, and they can specifically talk about what we're looking to apply for. We don't have our finalized budget just yet, so it's going to be close to the $500,000 that we're hoping to get awarded by PCCD. So I'll turn it over to Glenn and Kathy.
Go ahead. I was going to say, Glenn, you talk about the program.
Good morning. We're applying for this grant. We've been waiting for this for quite a while for some funding. We believe it'll do a lot of good for the returning citizens. It'll allow us to keep those individuals when they get incarcerated who are already on a program. We can keep them continuing with the program. Currently, we don't offer this program, so it'll be something new for us. We worked collaboratively with Kathy from Drug and Alcohol and Carrie, of course, to apply for the grant. Did a lot of work on it last week, so we think we're real close to the submit button. We appreciate your anticipated approval of this, and we think it'll do a lot of good for the returning citizens who come to the facility on the program. Once we get the program moving, we are going to offer those who are already incarcerated who had a previous problem the opportunity to get onto the program as well. So, thank you.
Thanks, Glenn.
As Glenn said, we've been talking about this for some time, and unfortunately, there is no seamless way to put together a program like this. And so we have had conversations with several funders to get this started ASAP. I've been in contact with the Department of Drug and Alcohol Programs with the hope that their state opioid response funds would allow us to get things started much sooner. I know we've also had conversations with the commissioners about using some of our opiate settlement dollars to get it started as well. So we're thinking that it's possible that the opiate settlement dollars would allow us to get things started very quickly. Then the Department of Drug and Alcohol Program, state opiate response funds would come through. That would allow us to continue the program until grant funding would come through. We would then use the grant funding to continue it further. So, and about the time the grant funding would end, we would be back to an opportunity to request funds from the Department of Drug and Alcohol Program. So again, we continue to seek opportunities to maintain this program, and it becomes a sustainability option for us. And again, it becomes an opportunity to keep individuals on a medication-assisted therapy so that we're maintaining them on an evidence-based process that will allow them to continue with their community provider. It becomes a very reentry focused tool because their provider remains the same. While they're in the correctional facility, they continue with that provider when they are released from the facility. So their therapist doesn't change, their doctor doesn't change. They have that continuous contact with the same people that they know. Is it also intended to reduce the risk of overdose because they maintain their therapies, and we believe it has the potential to reduce the numbers that we see in terms of overdose. So this is one more step that we have to benefit the individuals that we're serving.
But just to say, this is really a culmination of many years. Prior to the start of the pandemic, there was outreach from folks in Harrisburg to collaborate with Center County. It has been delayed, so it's great to see this coming to fruition, and the hope is that this is a really competitive grant. Prime Care as well is our healthcare vendor at the facility. They're on board with this. They've talked to us at prison board meetings about this, so all the pieces are in place, and hopefully the funding can come through. So good news.
That's all good. It's a good program. So.
Great example of the dozens of initiatives that the commissioners have supported, county departments have supported, the judges, court-related offices, the district attorney, dozens of nonprofits, and many others. That it's not just one big thing. It's a multitude of initiatives that have reduced our number of incarcerated individuals by 50% over since 2013. So can we have a motion to approve the grant application?
Absolutely. Proudly approving the grant application to PCCD for the Federal State Opioid Response, or SOAR, funds.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the grant application of the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
And then I think Carrie stays up,
Yes,
right?
I have one more. This is a contract renewal with Crossroads Counseling for the Men Against Abuse program. MAP, as they call it, is a mandatory weekly intervention program that is for individuals who've committed offenses involving domestic violence. It is completely participant funded. There's no cost to the county or the probation department, and this contract runs from January 1, 2023 through December 31st of 2023. This is a yearly renewal. It's been in place for many, many years.
But a great program, Mike.
Absolutely. Very important to have this as part of the criminal justice system here in Center County, so absolutely. Yeah,
And it's a participant-funded
that's right.
program.
That's right.
It's
Right.
supervised from our probation folks.
Great. All right, then can we have a motion to approve the contract?
Absolutely. Well, I'll make a motion to add the contract with Crossroad to next week's consent agenda.
All right. All those in favor of approving the contracts with Crossroads Counseling, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carrie. All right, it's Chad's turn for 3 information technology services contracts.
Good morning. The first one I have today is through CDW, but it is to provide 120 concurrent licenses for our Citrix remote desktop platform, which of course allows our employees flexibility where and how they access their desktop. This contract is for 1 year, January 15th, 2023 to January 14th, 2024, in the amount of $14,025. Next contract is also a CDW, and it's to provide 185 Adobe Pro licenses for our employees. This contract is also for 1 year, January 19th, 2023 to January 18th, 2024, for $19,396. And the last contract is for a project I'm particularly excited about to begin to start to digitize records that we have here at the county. So this contract is with Momentum ECM LLC to provide implementation services as well as a software contract for Laserfiche, which is a document management platform. They're going to provide us the training so we know how to use it and be able to really start the digitization of some of the county records. So the funding for the professional services part and the first year of the Laserfiche contract is going to come from the Records Improvement Committee. This funding was approved, I believe, last week for the amount of $15,746.25. The Laserfiche software contract is a 3-year contract, and then the final 2 years on that contract will be funded through the Records Management Department, that part totaling $16,600. And with a total 3-year contract of $32,346.25.
Wonderful. Any discussion?
No, this is great. Really, really excited about this. We talked about it during budget meetings, so yeah, absolutely. This is great.
Steve?
I'm good.
Yeah, this will save the county money, improve both internal county services and services to citizens. So it's a great idea, Chad. Thanks for pushing it through. All right, can we have a motion to approve the information technology services items?
I'll make a motion to add these to next week's consent agenda.
All right. All those in favor of adding the information technology services items 1 through 3 to next week's consent agenda, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. I keep forgetting to say is there a nay, but they've all been unanimous so far. Now we move on to liquid fuels, fee for local use, which I think goes to John.
Thank you. Before you for consideration or approval are 2 liquid fuels applications and 1 fee for local use. The first liquid fuels application is for Marion Township in the amount of $18,680 for improvements to Slaughterhouse Road intersection. The second is a liquid fuels application for Unionville Borough in the amount of $19,606.50 for the High Street Rehabilitation Project. And then the final for consideration is a fee for local use application in Rush Township for the amount of $83,816.25 for McCord Road paving updates.
Great, thanks, John. So we have 2 fees for liquid fuels, and then 1 approval using the $5 fee for local use, which 100% of those funds need to go toward transportation projects. So great to see that we're funding that.
No, this is all good. Yeah.
All right. We have a motion to approve the liquid fuels and fee for local use items 1 through 3.
Sure. Motion to approve the items for Marion Township, Unionville Borough, and Rush Township today.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the liquid fuels and fee for local use items 1 through 3, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries. Now we move to this week's consent agenda, which is a little shorter than usual. Can we have a motion?
Motion to approve this week's consent agenda.
I will second that.
All right, all those in favor of approving this week's consent agenda, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Let's see, then we're moving on to authorities, boards, and commissions. I believe we have an appointment of Elizabeth Siegelman to the Housing Authority. Any questions?
Yeah, no, Elizabeth is great. We work with her with initiatives through Centerpiece, and she's passionate about housing, so it'll be a good appointment, but I'll make the motion.
I will second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the appointment of Elizabeth Siegelman to the Housing Authority. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Another unanimous, all right. Is there an administrator report, John?
Nothing to report at this time.
Okay. Steve, voter registration report, looks like you got one.
I do. We have, as of this morning, 99,769 registered voters in Center County. That's made up of 42,096 Democratic registrations, 126 Green Party, 611 Libertarian, 13,260 no affiliation, and 40,557 Republican. When you add the 3,117 other parties in there, you get the 99,769 number. I'm going to start off my report this year with at the beginning of the alphabet of smaller parties, and the Adarian Party, which I believe has a Star Wars reference.
Yes.
The
Believe that was a
Adarian,
planet.
yeah. Well, the Adarian Party has one registered voter here in Center County, and we'd like to recognize them. I'd also like to recognize Worth Township Precinct Number 85, which votes at the Sportsman's Club in Port Matilda. And in the last election, there were 567 registered voters, 417 ballots cast, which led to a percentage turnout of 73.54%, which is pretty significant. And I'd like to recognize the hard work of the folks up there that make it happen, and the Sportsman's Club for allowing us to use their facility. So, thank you. That's it.
All right. We do have one announcement that county government offices will be closed on Monday, January 16th, in observance of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. John, did we have any executive sessions to report or hold?
No executive sessions to report or hold.
Good. Our public meeting schedule, we have a meeting on Tuesday, January 10th, 10 a.m., regular commissioners meeting. And then we have our Thursday commissioner meeting on January 12th at 10 a.m., and the salary board also at 10 a.m. Now for the scariest part of the entire morning. Gary, are there any questions?
Oh, man, Gary, yeah, that's a tough introduction.
Well, first, of course, I'd like to wish Happy New Year to the vast CNET audience. Thank you. Michael, any more insight on your decision? The timing, was it difficult? You are an incumbent commissioner, incumbent chairperson, stand a good chance for re-election. Anything else you can share with us in terms of making this decision?
You know, I think in many ways our politics and government is at a crossroads, and I just felt that with the results that we saw here in Pennsylvania with Governor-elect Shapiro and the really the momentum that he's carrying into office, I felt like the opportunity to be able to partner with him and help him achieve his campaign promises and work across the aisle was really a significant thing that I wasn't able to pass up. And knowing that after 11 years of work here, there's been a lot of collaboration and the ability to pass the baton, past a budget that we've just passed, and to be able to head into a new year with a lot of good focus here. And the team that we have here is just exceptional. And so I knew that I was also able to leave it in good hands. But it is immensely bittersweet. It was not an easy decision. A lot of thought went into it, but I appreciate the outpouring of support that I've seen from people.
We know the job title. Do you exactly what you'll be doing with the Shapiro administration, exactly what the job entails? Do you have Or is that
Sure.
still to be announced?
Sure, some of it's to be announced, but it really is focusing on public safety, and that you're thinking about the offices of PEMA, DOC, PSP, Department of Military and Veterans Affairs. So it's just collaborating with them out of the governor's office and ensuring just smooth operations.
I think you mentioned at a recent meeting, where did we stand with Centercrest? I keep calling it former Centercrest, the renovation project.
Sure. So we've finished up interior schematic design, and we're now looking at the exterior facade for minor improvements there, and then we'll be going into the construction drawing phase for fit out for mechanicals and things of that nature.
Prizes, or are you still on the general timetable?
The design took just a touch longer than what was originally anticipated, but the product has exceeded our expectations. So it was time well spent.
Thank you. This concludes the scary portion of your meeting.
Thank you, Gary.
Now, Gary, there is some disappointing news. In these design drawings, there is no
Oh, yes.
parcel out there for a media lounge.
Crushing his spirit already, Steve.
I know, well,
I
you
know, a broken promise. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
no media lounge.
Thanks, Gary, very much.
Thanks. All right, unless there's anything else for the good of the order, can we have a motion to adjourn?
So moves.
Second.
All right, all those in favor of adjourning, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned at 10:35. Thank you, everyone.
Have a great day.
Thank you.